we are going to look at how to stop losing easy marks in TOEIC. Just stop it. All right, so what we're going to look at is a rule that is stop putting subject and verb after these prepositions. These are extremely common mistakes. All right, before we start, please share, subscribe, like, do all those amazing things. Now, let's look at number one. If you use despite or in spite of, do not put subject verb after it. Let's look at a TOEIC question here. It says, blank, the sales increased, the company's profits declined. Right away, right at the start, I know despite and in spite are wrong because I can't have subject verb directly after them. So now I have since or although. Now, I know the answer is not since here. Why? Because if I said since, it could have two meanings. It could mean starting at this time. But if I say since to say starting at this time, the sales increased, the main clause needs to be present perfect. So it would have to be since the sales increased, the company's profits have declined. So I know it is not talking about since with time. Now, the other meaning of since is because. But this would be illogical. It doesn't make sense. If I said since the sales increased, and I mean because the company's profits declined, this is crazy. This doesn't make any sense because if sales increase, your profits should probably increase. So this is not a good term with cause and effect. So the answer here is although. Although is followed by a subject plus verb. Despite and in spite of are not followed by subject plus verb. They are followed by a noun. So the answer here is D. Now let's look at the next one. It says blank, an increase in sales, the company's profits declined. An increase in sales is a noun. So even though is wrong because after even though I need subject plus verb. In spite of is correct because it in spite of means despite, but it is followed by a noun form. Now, due to doesn't make sense because once again, due to means because of, but if you have an increase in sales, your profits probably shouldn't decline. And although doesn't work because after although, you need a subject plus verb. So once again, after despite or in spite of, you can use the following. You can use a proper noun. For example, despite more sales, the company's profits declined. You can use a gerund phrase. A gerund phrase is when you use verb plus ing as a noun. For example, despite sales increasing, blah, blah, blah. You can use despite the fact that. So you could say, despite the fact that sales increased, blah, blah, blah. Or you can use a proper noun clause, despite how much sales have increased. This is a noun clause. If you don't know what a noun clause is, look it up. It's very important. Now, so the next preposition people make mistakes with, and they don't need to, is when you use because of, due to, owing to, thanks to. These are all prepositions, so they are followed by noun forms. Let's look at an example. She was unable to finish the race because of her injured leg. Her injured leg is a noun. It's a thing. There is no subject verb after because of. She was unable to finish the race because of injuring her leg. This is a gerund phrase. It acts as a noun. Or she was unable to finish the race because of what happened to her leg. What happened to her leg is a noun clause. It acts like a noun. So if you use because of, due to, owing to, or thanks to, you are going to have a noun form after it. Do not go subject verb immediately after it. Let's look at some TOEIC examples. We're going to do number 1. So you notice it says the complimentary comments. This is a noun. This is a noun. That his old manager wrote in the reference letter. This is describing the noun. It is an adjective clause. Here, you do not have a subject verb. You have a noun with an adjective clause. So your only answer here is due to. Okay, your only answer here is due to. Let's look at number 2. Well, right away, I can see that I have subject verb. So immediately, B and D are wrong. I have she had graduated. This is subject plus verb. So the answer here is because. As for makes no sense here. Due to and thanks to do not work because these need to be followed by a noun form. All right, let's go to the last place people make mistakes. This is with the words regarding, about, concerning, with regard to, in regard to. These all basically mean the same thing. For example, we had a conversation with regard to potential modifications to the product. Notice all of these are followed by a noun form. So we can see the meeting was held regarding the company wanted. The company wanted is subject verb. So A is not correct. B is not correct. D is not correct because this is subject verb and I cannot put this after regarding. These are prepositions. I cannot put this after about or concerning. So the only answer here is C. Let's look at another example. Once again, I have the customer showed dissatisfaction regarding. Regarding is a preposition. So A is definitely wrong because I have subject verb. B is definitely wrong. C could be correct because I have a gerund phrase. If you don't know what a gerund phrase is, it's verb ing acting as a noun. Look it up if you don't know. It's very important. That makes sense because C is a noun. There is no subject plus verb. D is definitely not correct because you have subject verb. So the answer is C. So once again, despite, in spite of, these are prepositions. They need to be followed by a noun form. If we look at because of, due to, owing to, thanks to, these are prepositions. They need to be followed by a noun form. And finally, about, regarding, concerning, with regard to, in regard to, these are prepositions. They need to be followed by a noun form. Easy. All right. I hope this helps you on your TOEIC journey.